Panel, welcome to our roundtable on the discussion of between Russia and the West, the current situation in the South Caucasus, and the role of Russia in this region in the current political situation. I would like to start asking. I will probably start to ask Yulia first. What is the current? What is going on from the Russian perspective in the area, in the region, and what are the Russian peacekeepers are doing there, or what exactly, probably what they are not doing? How do you see it from Moscow?
Well, I suppose we're starting now, right?
Yes.
Everyone joined, those who wanted to join us. Oh, okay. Good morning. Thank you for, thank you for inviting me for this event. So the question was about Russian peacekeepers and Russian attitudes generally, Russian attitudes towards the situation, the current developments. Well, let me start with a more general perception. These days, we see a lot of discussions about whether Russia is disappointed or angry or whatever about Armenian perceived turn to the West, about US-Armenian exercises. I wouldn't say that here in Russia, the officials see the situation as critical. For them, that's, of course, there are some comments by the Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs that Russia is disappointed that Armenia is looking towards the West. But generally, I would say that nothing special is happening because we know that such military exercises between Armenia and the United States happened before. We know that Armenia was unhappy with the Russian attempts at resolution before many years ago. So with that, I wouldn't say that something really new is happening from the Russian perspective. As to peacekeepers, I would say that both Armenia and Azerbaijan are waiting for Russia to be more active. And both Armenia and Azerbaijan want them to perform military functions as protection, as say, unblocking of Latin corridor or blocking Armenian armed people penetrating from the territory of Armenia, as Azerbaijan claims. But in reality, what Russian peacekeepers do on the ground, they patrol the area, they demine the territories, and they serve more as police. So that's more the functions of the observers. Well, I would say somewhat similar. Observers.
Acting as observers, but they're military peace.
Yes. So they are supposed to be military peacekeepers, but what they are really doing on the ground, it's more like observers. And that is can be seen from the reports of the Russian Ministry of Defense. They publish regularly reports from the ground from the Russian peacekeeping forces, and the reports are just, okay, something happened, here is the constatation of the facts, but nothing more. So I would say that Russia, at the level of bureaucracies, is quite happy about the developments, bureaucratic developments, but not happy about, let's say, political developments. So institutional ladder and how the events are reported back to the top, that's one thing, and political perceptions, that's quite different. So I think we can speak in more details later about it.
Yes, sure. Okay, thank you. I want to go to Alexander. Alexander, Do you agree that the peacekeepers should be acting as observers only?
It doesn't matter would I agree on that or not. The role of peacekeepers by the agreement of November 9, 10, 2020 is not about observation, it's about peacekeeping, about physical guarantees for security for people, Armenians living in Nagorno-Karabakh, the corridor, the road, the so-called Lachin corridor from Armenia to Nagorno-Karabakh, and possibilities for these people to try to resolve the problems around Nagorno-Karabakh. The mandate was from 2020 to 2025. Now, Lachin corridor is not exist. Actually, at least it doesn't exist as something which controlled by Russian peacekeepers. By this agreement, it would be 5 kilometers corridor from Armenia to Nagorno-Karabakh. They cannot provide real security. At least you have problems, you have shootings from time to time, you have escalations from time to time. These escalations killing people, arresting of people, for example, on the road from Armenia, from Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia when it works still, etc. So in Armenia, no, they're not very happy with peacekeepers, but we have what we have. Still, Russian peacekeepers, they are about 1,960 people, 60 militaries there, peacekeepers. They are still there. It gives maybe some guarantee against wild-scale war. Maybe it protects from that, but situation is not very optimistic. Peacekeepers are there, but problems are there as well. As for Armenian perception, Armenian relationships with Russia, Armenian membership in OSCE, Armenian relationships with Russia, it is not about Nagorno-Karabakh question. It's connected, sure, but formally, institutionally, it's different. Nagorno-Karabakh is Nagorno-Karabakh, and Russians there as peacekeepers are for not just for at all not for observation, but for I said for guarantees to people living in.
Thank you. Yes, Ahmad, and can you add something? How does this situation is viewed from Azerbaijan? I know Azerbaijani authorities offered another road going from to Karabakh from Agdam. And well, you know, it's difficult to me to say anything, but I got recently some other comparison in my mind. What would be if Germans would have offered to Leningrad, blockaded Leningrad one time or twice without any conditions, would have offered them to receive some supplies from the Germany, still blockading the city. Do you think that Leningrad would have accepted it? I don't know, maybe it's not ethical to make such comparisons, but still, what do you think?
Okay.
Excuse me? Your voice connection does not go very well. Can you please check your... We can't hear you very well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, very good, thank you. Now I can hear you well too. Go ahead, please.
It
How
was
does
good.
the situation seen from Baku?
Yeah, okay. What is called blockade in international media and Armenian media in Azerbaijan is called establishing border checkpoint. So from Azerbaijani perspective, there is no blockade, but establishing a border checkpoint. And anyone who is going to respect the border checkpoint can pass that. So it means that if any country, any legal entity who is going to bring any food, any truck, if they have a proper documentation, they are going to be allowed into Karabakh. They are going to be allowed in. So it's for Azerbaijan, it's a simple bureaucratic proceeding with a significant political outcome. So what Azerbaijan in reality wants, it is following certain customs bureaucracy rules that cargo that wants to get into the Karabakh should have a paper saying that this is the list of the items and the origin of this cargo is from Yerevan, Armenia. The destination is Karabakh, Azerbaijan. So what Azerbaijan wants, saying that, and I believe that there was election in Karabakh Armenians did hold elections, and there were basically everybody say that we do not recognize it. We recognize Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan. So, and Armenian PM also stated several times that Armenia is ready to recognize Karabakh as Azerbaijan. And Azerbaijan now wants to say that, okay, if you are declared that Karabakh is Azerbaijan, it's better to be shown in the bureaucratic proceedings also. So that is why what Azerbaijan wants to follow simple bureaucratic proceeding, but that bureaucratic proceeding has a significant political outcome that you automatically, when you fill in that document, the customs document, you are recognizing Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan, not let's say on a narratively, but there is some document saying that you already say Karabakh, Azerbaijan as destination. And the same thing about like that there was a very heartbreaking case, I believe last month, one girl passed away, young girl passed away, and they wanted to carry her body to Karabakh and bury it there. And that was quite heartbreaking. It should have been taking place. And there was this case was on media, and then the Azerbaijani government representatives said that we want that, but Armenian government should apply to the Azerbaijani government saying that dead body is going to pass the customs and the proper bureaucratic proceedings should be followed. And it did not happen. So that is why what is called blockade for Azerbaijan, it's establishment of the border checkpoint proceedings. Again, a simple bureaucratic proceedings with a significant political outcome. But regarding Russian troops presence in Karabakh, there are quite many contradicting moments in this issue. I would say that the way how the Russian troops behaved at the beginning of their mission in Karabakh, I believe that it was the December, January, like the November, December of 2020 and the January, March of the 2021. It was something more than peacekeeping forces. It was like something protecting power. So that created quite a negative image in Azerbaijani public about that. And then when Ruben Vardanyan appeared in Karabakh, the protection was provided by Russian troops there. So it was, for Azerbaijan, it signaled something more than peacekeeping forces can do or should do. And that is why there is quite a, let's say, quite critical stand on this issue also. And I believe that Karabakh is Armenia-Azerbaijan peace process is a reputational black hole. Whoever is going to get in, they are going to suffer a deep reputational loss. And I believe that Russian troops in Karabakh, there are quite criticism from both sides, but also humanitarian mission are facing the same thing. So I'm going to stop here.
Okay, thank you. But you said about this funeral of young woman. What do you mean they were supposed to fill out some paperwork for bringing a body of someone's body through the as I understand she died in Armenia and they wanted to bury her in Karabakh, right?
Yeah, that was the case. That was I believe that was on the media. I know the case from the media. I have
Yeah,
no.
I heard something, but I never looked carefully through what was going on. What do you mean by customs? Customs, I mean, someone is bringing body of
Oh, no,
one
in
person.
that case, it's not a custom, but in that case, you at least should provide a document say that this person died on a natural cause, nobody killed it. So if Azerbaijan authorities are going to let it in, so there should be a proper document filled in, right? So it's
But
not when I was talking about the customs rules, I was talking about the food. So I would try to say that this is about the bureaucratic engagement of the Armenian government and the Azerbaijani government, and from Azerbaijani perspective, Armenian government refuses to have any bureaucratic engagement with Azerbaijan, because the once you bureaucratically engage on those issues, it means that these bureaucratic proceedings means that you recognize Azerbaijan's sovereignty over Karabakh, and the Armenian government, despite Nikol Pashinyan numerous times repeating that the Armenian government didn't do that, and that caused a significant frustration in Baku.
so you believe that it was something mishandling of the situation by Armenian guard, no, by Armenian border people. So they did not provide proper papers to Azerbaijan border guard security, right?
So again, no, I don't. Again, I'm saying like these are the simple bureaucratic proceedings with a significant political outcome. So in that sense, not engaging bureaucratically, it means it might be a political decision, not a bureaucratic decision. So
Okay.
it's so the political outcome of it is huge.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will go back to Yulia. There is a certain situation. Well, there is one Armenian commentator, host. His name is Eric Hakopan. I watch his programs from time to time on CivilNet. He always complained. At the beginning, he was more or less positive to the Russian peacekeepers in Karabakh, but later on, he said something that Russian peacekeepers they act like a Swiss policeman when they deal with these eco activists on the border between Armenia and Karabakh. They're just gently trying to push them away, or they're just not doing anything. And at this point, when Armenians turned to the United States, again, some strange comparison. When you invite someone to your house to do certain type of job, like to be a guard of your place, of your storage, of your store, and this person is doing this job, and at a certain moment he stops. He's not working properly. Is it surprising that you would turn for the same job to someone else, like Armenia is looking? Turn to the United States, and you see it as insult. You see it's a violation of certain treaties that were signed before. But if Russia is not doing what, at least Armenians don't see what they're doing. Azerbaijan sees it as violation of territorial integrity. But is it surprising that Armenians turn to the United States, to the West, doing these drills, recent drills in September, quite recent?
Well, I think that's quite logical on the part of the Armenian establishment to show to the Russian officials, Russian political elites, that Armenia does have some alternatives. I'm not sure that Armenia will really have such a deal from the American part, that the US will agree to provide peacekeepers and that such a deal could be brokered. I see it more like exchange in views and certain types of political threats to move the discussion into a more practical way. It seems that we agree here that there are a lot of questions about the functioning of the peacekeeping forces. As I mentioned, from the Russian side, there is no as I see it, Russian peacekeepers have a mandate, a political mandate, but on the ground, they are very cautious, as you mentioned, like they behave like a Swiss police. They try not to do anything which can be interpreted politically, because it seems to me that that's why they try to behave more like a police than military peacekeeping forces who have to guard the ceasefire and so on. The room for maneuver locally for them is not wide enough, because they have to get some approval from the top Russian officials, what they can do, what they cannot do. Yes, from Moscow. And Moscow is quite busy now with other directions of Russian foreign policy. So that's why I think that people on the ground in Nagorno-Karabakh do just, okay, we're patrolling, that's our job, we can do the demining, that's something positive for the local population, and that's it. That's not our job to decide who is wrong and who is right about Lachin corridor and so on. So that's how I see the situation. And about the potential US mission in Nagorno-Karabakh, I think that the US is not interested enough in such a mission.
It's not the priority of the US.
Yes, absolutely. So you have to really understand what for you need to send such a mission. What would you gain? The US would gain much more politically by trying to moderate the debates between Armenia and Azerbaijan to broker the peace than by sending a mission, because such a potential mission would be criticized as well, both by Armenia and Azerbaijan. I'm pretty sure that's what will happen. I'll stop here.
Yes, the same question to Alexander, but I want to add a little more, something else. Well, you know, if I'm not sure how the West can replace Russia if there are such hopes, if there are such hopes in Armenia. Also, something else I would like to add, such thing as if there in theory would be some American troops somehow, don't know how, nobody knows how, would have been able to be deployed in the South Caucasus, in Armenia, even in Karabakh, how much it would have antagonized Iran, which some Armenians think that Iran is our close ally. I remember the article published by Richard Geragosyan. Years ago, he published something. He said, I traveled to Armenia and they say something to me. Azerbaijanis hate us, Turks hate us, Georgians don't like us, Russians betrayed us, but Iran is our close friend. So how much it would have antagonized Iran? I know that Iran amassed a lot of troops on the border with Azerbaijan and near Karabakh. Do you think that would be a lot of issues? It would antagonize Iran too? Yes, please.
Thank you. I would say about 3 points. First, legally, by agreement, it shouldn't be any checkpoint in Lachin corridor. Lachin corridor should be open.
Yes.
By agreement of 9-10 November 2020, signed by President of Azerbaijan.
Should not mean. Should not be.
It should be open.
It should be open. I should not
without
be
checkpoints and
no
controlled by
checkpoint.
Russian peacekeepers.
Only by Russian peacekeepers. Yes.
Yes, legally it's like that. It was signed by 3 leaders: Armenian Prime Minister and Russian and Azerbaijani presidents. Second,
No checkpoint by exclusively by Azerbaijani side,
no
right?
checkpoints at all.
Yes.
No checkpoints at all by agreement. Second, I would call it psychological or moral. If they say that you need a bureaucratic procedure or customs for body of young lady died in Armenia for coming to Karabakh, you understand how it can bring to the situation in Nagorno-Karabakh. What they think about people doing like that, blockade and such kind of things. But third, political. Your question is too theoretic, I would say. If you will find somebody, some forces from God knows where, Antarctica, I don't know, Argentina or Paraguay or Luxembourg or whoever, to come to Azerbaijan and to replace Russians, it is impossible. First, because legally you need Azerbaijan's agreement to that. Azerbaijan didn't give to European Monitor Group possibility to come to Azerbaijani side. They are in Armenia, at the border region of Armenia with Azerbaijan, not Karabakh with Azerbaijan, but Armenia with Azerbaijan, and they didn't allow to go them to Azerbaijan. It's impossible. You need a permission from Azerbaijan. In 2020, you had it for Russians. And I don't think that it is possible politically to bring and replace, you said about American forces. I don't think that in Washington it's in center of their mind to bring somebody, forces to Nagorno-Karabakh and to replace the Russians there. So it's too theoretical to think, would Iran agree to this, I don't know, South African forces being around Karabakh? I don't think that is the real perspective.
Yes, Ahmad, and can you comment on that, please?
Sorry, I missed that part.
Yeah, we spoke about it. All right, yes, okay, I guess we're getting pretty close to the Q&A part. But another point, are we close to the third Karabakh war? Is it possible to imagine that there will be new, very important thing? Is it possible that the new war can start again, the third Karabakh war?
You're asking me, right? The question is to me, right?
Well, I would like to start. Yeah, well, let's start with Ahmad.
Okay, the question is, I do not expect anything similar to 2020 Karabakh War. I do not expect anything similar to the events that took place in in September of 2022. But something in between might take place. But with the recent development, especially, we are seeing a lot of people living in Karabakh called students.
Yes.
But the common understanding is that, and not only in Azerbaijan, not only among Azerbaijanis, but also foreigners in Baku, when they look at that pictures, they do not look like students at all. And also we see a certain favorable developments taking place on other fields also. The way, especially with the President Erdogan calling and the de facto being like the mediating at some point, Like there was the media, Armenian, Azerbaijani media, they would report about the accumulation of the armed forces from Azerbaijan side of the border and the Armenian side of the border. And after that talk, it kind of halted. So I would say that President Erdogan and his phone conversation with President Aliyev and Prime Minister Pashinyan played quite an important role. And as a result, we see quite significant de-escalation and the armed forces leaving Karabakh, Armenian armed forces. So, and 2 days ago, President Erdogan proposed that there can be a meeting between President Aliyev and the Prime Minister Pashinyan with the participation of President Erdogan. He continued his idea saying that if it's not acceptable, they can have a meeting together with the President Putin. So it's a 2+2 format, we would say it, and that is back. So what we are, if like the President Erdogan's mediation was, and I'm not, I have a certain doubts if there was a mediation, but what we can see that after that phone call, everything went like this. The news landscape changed totally, and we now see that Karabakh Armenians also agreed with the letting in ICRC trucks and etc. So there was the escalation went down. So if President Erdogan's mediation mission is successful, and if there is a meeting like the tripartite meeting, but this time with the participation of President Erdogan, I believe that that's going to be considered significant success by Azerbaijani side, and it's going to create a certain hope for the continuation of the peace process. Azerbaijan would also agree, I believe that it would agree with the participation of President Putin, so 2+2 process. Otherwise, the view from Baku is that now Baku is not interested, it doesn't look like interested in, it doesn't believe in the sincerity of the peace talks anymore, because in the middle of July, there was a meeting with the President Michel, and right after that, Armenian party, sorry.
Is it Charles Michel?
Yes, in July, in the 14th of July, I believe that there was a meeting. So, and right after that meeting, Armenian party and Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said that they did not discuss Agdam Road at all. There was no discussions about that. Later, President Michel came with its own statement saying that they discussed that issue in detail, but it took place a bit later. But from Azerbaijani perspective, if there is some successful platform, and that was an EU platform, together with the US platform, and if you're taking that process to the United Nations Security Council, and you are organizing a hearing, and you are trying to derail the peace process, and you fail in United Nations Security Council to adopt any resolution, for Azerbaijan, this looks like destroying the peace process.
Okay, thank you. So I need to ask you, ask you.
Can I add two sentences?
Yes, absolutely.
So that is why now, we see that Armenian side, Nikol Pashinyan and the several ambassadors, they are saying that about talking about peace deal, the meetings, but Azerbaijan side is total silent. So that is why now we have to review restate back the peace process. And I believe that Erdogan, what he proposed, is more acceptable to Azerbaijan right now. So I'm going to stop here.
Okay, thank you. Now, question to Yulia. Yulia, is in case if there's still a war, what do you think? What would be the Russia's reaction, especially taking into consideration that Russia got so much involved on the western border? Do you think Russia would act today in taking into consideration this Russia's current involvement?
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I think that there is no need for escalation for Azerbaijan. First of all, that's how I view the situation. Now Azerbaijan has enough leverages over the political process to put pressure on Armenia. So that's why I don't think it would be in favor of Azerbaijan to start something military, actions. But if we hypothetically discuss a potential military clash, full-fledged renewed military conflict, then I don't think that Russia will be ready to get involved militarily with some additional forces. So there are already peacekeepers on the ground. Yes, so there are peacekeepers on the ground. So probably Russia will use this contingent first of all. Then another opportunity
there
is
are some Russian troops in Armenia.
Yeah, but for that probably Russia will try to enact the Collective Security Treaty Organization, because even bilateral military assistance to Armenia can go through the procedures of the Collective Security Treaty Organization. So again, that's a political decision. Either you do it bilaterally or you do it through a regional security organization. And we know that there have been already discussions about an observer mission from the Armenian side to monitor the Armenian-Azerbaijani border. There was such a mission last September, and there were discussions about renewing this observing mission. But I personally do not think that political discussions will turn into something real, that there will be such a new observer mission on the border, or that the CSTO will be somehow involved in any potential military actions. So my view on the situation is that all the parties will use the leverages that they already have, mostly political rather than military.
Okay, thank you so much. And Alexander, we're just running out of time. We should start picking up questions from the floor. Very briefly, do you think that the new Third Karabakh War is possible? I think many people in Armenia think that it is.
Oh, in general, yes, it is possible, but in general, for the moment, I don't think for the moment, for coming months, I don't think that it is very possible. Because, you know, for wild-scale war, I'm talking about war, real war, as you had in 2020, we had in 2020. If it will be war like that, Azerbaijanis will have to kill not just Armenians but Russians. I'm not fully agree with Yulia, because peacekeepers, they are not. It's not about military force. They are just about 2,000 people, just with Kalashnikovs. And around them, you have from 40 to 50,000 Azerbaijani soldiers and officers with everything from aircrafts to artillery and missiles and everything. So it's not serious. It's usually like that. Peacekeepers are not about force. Peacekeepers are about flag. Flag of, in this case, Russian Federation. Flag of Russian Federation is not so, how to call it, strong as it was before beginning of Ukrainian war. That's a problem. Situation changed. and you have what you have. But at the moment, I would say that escalations, I would be happy to be mistaken, but escalations, yes. Killing people, yes. Maybe some local operations in different parts of the border of NK, yes, but real war, maybe no. That doesn't mean that this is forever. It can change, but at the moment, I would say like that and stop here.
Okay, thank you. Now there was a question from the floor, and sorry, I don't see it anymore. It was question to Alexander. Why Armenians do not accept, do not agree to take anything from Agdam, do not agree for Agdam route? For anything that, for supplies that goes through Agdam. Agdam corridor.
First, sorry, yeah, I'm mute now. First, they did, finally. Second, how can you imagine this metaphor which you're talking about? A person in your garden works, and this person close your door and say that you cannot have your bread through the door, but just through the window. And he will be near the window, and he will give you bread he likes to give you, calling it bureaucratic procedure, and won't give bread he doesn't like, and will ask you, I don't know, customs or a document for body of your daughter dying somewhere and bringing here. So psychologically, it's not, if Azerbaijan would like to talk really to Nagorno-Karabakh, people living in Nagorno-Karabakh, they call them their citizens. Maybe it's better to have another way than closing closing roads and say, if you'll not agree to a bureaucratic procedures, you will die. So situation is that is like that, and you don't have a lot of mood from Nagorno-Karabakh to agree with such kind of situation.
Yes. Do you think, maybe a question to everyone, do you think Pashinyan would be ready to sign a peace agreement with Azerbaijan and Ahmed? I think
It's different question.
Yes.
Sorry?
No, I thought you finished. You just said I do. Yes, and different question in what sense?
Oh, I became to answer this question. Okay,
Yeah, go ahead. No, please develop your idea. It's a different.
I think yes. I think yes. Peace agreement of Republic of Armenia with Azerbaijani Republic doesn't mean that with recognizing territory of, as usually our prime minister say, that Armenia has agreed to recognize 86,600 square kilometers of territory of Azerbaijan. What means with Nagorno-Karabakh? But it doesn't mean to kill all these people or to deport all of them, or say that everybody there is criminal, such kind of thing. As for peace agreement with Azerbaijan, yes, it's a goal of Armenian authorities, and they said it many times. They are ready to sign such kind of document.
And Ahmad, what do you think? Is it possible?
First of all, let me let's go back to this bureaucratic proceeding. Alexander 2 times mentioned that. Look, I said bureaucratic proceeding with significant political consequences, and also the way why there was a need for those bureaucratic proceedings, because Azerbaijan tried to raise its concern that there are illegal traffic of the weapons, and that weapons can be used to kill Azerbaijanis and Armenians overall. So Azerbaijan wanted, we should not forget how it all started. The beginning of it was Azerbaijan demanded a certain transparency over the cargo passing the Lachin road, and that lead to that. So I believe that addressing those political concerns back then would help a lot. So that is why we should be one step ahead, see certain things, and then not let certain things escalate to a very untasteful events, frankly speaking. Regarding the possibility of the peace deal, I believe that the peace deal is possible, but I don't expect that, frankly speaking, that's going to be signed by Pashinyan. I would expect that the reputational cost of that signing the peace deal for an Armenian leader is huge. So we saw that during the signing of the three-party statement. It was a just statement, but the reputational cost for that for Pashinyan is quite significant. But it also means that Armenia has to sign something. So I would expect that someone from Armenia, like Minister of Foreign Affairs or some other people, let's say people who are responsible for the border security, etc. These people signing some documents that's going to kind of create recognition of each other's territorial integrity, borders, and that is going to allow the parties to move forward with the like the railway connections, etc., etc. But I don't think that Pashinyan right now is ready to sign any of that. The political, historical, reputational cost of it is huge. And after three-party statement, I don't believe that Pashinyan would want to be that person to sign another document with Azerbaijan. It's probably going to be some in a bit lower rank is going to sign that. So I believe the possibility of that.
Okay, and Yulia, please.
I agree with Ahmad that it may be about reputational costs, but well, on the other hand, we can think about Gorbachev, who is not respected in Russia at all, but very much respected in the West for bringing an end to the Cold War. So probably in that case, Pashinyan would be regarded, if he signs an agreement, regarded as someone very respectful by the Western countries, but of course his career in Armenia will be destroyed, I guess. Well, but again, if we are talking about peace agreement, it all depends on the formulations. If they're wide enough and open to interpretations, then it's quite possible, but the thing will be that just this document will not be respected by both sides. So it's not about signing, it's not about, it's about how you apply it, whether you respect it or not. And we know that the OSCE Minsk Group actually had some formulations at the table during the debates, but there were no prospects for the realization. So I think that the parties should first discuss the guarantees, kind of security guarantees to people living in Nagorno-Karabakh, so that this peace agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan would be perceived in Armenia itself, not as a betrayal, but as something which can really bring more security to Armenia. And whether that's possible or not, probably Ahmad can tell more about which guarantees can Azerbaijan provide, and Alexander can tell more whether those guarantees will be acceptable for Armenians and for those living in Nagorno-Karabakh.
Yeah, I saw another question. Does anyone in Armenia still believe, well, the question was about Pashinyan, but I would change it a little bit. Does people in Armenia still believes that independence of Karabakh still possible. Let's start with you, Leyen. Do you think that it's? Do you think that?
Well, as we see it from Russia, as Russian officials claimed recently that if Armenian leadership believes that Nagorno-Karabakh will be safe within the internationally recognized territory of Azerbaijan, then we are okay with it. So that's the sovereign decision of Armenia. Russia does not want and does not need to defend the independence of Nagorno-Karabakh if currently Armenia itself kind of takes back its view on the independence.
Yes, and Alexander. Do you think some people in Armenia, in Karabakh, believe that independence? Because I watched some Armenian news, some programs, some talks on YouTube. Many believe that it is still possible.
Yes, I know such kind of people. That there are people who really believe that. Yes.
Okay, and Ahmad, what do you think? Are there any fears in Azerbaijan that, well, I think we talked about it. The French parliament made this decision. They recognize this, and there is some new Armenians started playing with the United States, with the West. Is there any fears that one day, well, you know about Kosovo example, but they said it was said that Kosovo is the last. Kosovo is an exception. What if one day somebody in the West, not somebody, I mean some of the high rank officials would say, there is another exception, this is Karabakh. Because Aliyev always said, Jahannam status, Garagurum status, hell with the status, you will get no status. Is it possible that if he is so categorical, denying any rights, any status, is it possible to suggest, to think at least, that he would antagonize so much the Western leadership that the decision would be made in Washington, in Paris, or I don't know where.
Yeah, okay. Like if we are talking about the Azerbaijan government's position on the issue, I have to say that the Azerbaijani philosophy, the approach to this issue is that whatever is going to be offered today is not going to be offered tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Azerbaijani general approach to this issue. So that is why when right after the 2020 Karabakh War, there were talks like let's go back and talk about the status within Azerbaijan. Then Azerbaijan government said that no, that was something what we were offering before the 2020 Karabakh War. That's not what we are going to offer now. The same thing about, for example, about the Lachin Road. There were certain issues also that certain issues they were proposed yesterday. If you didn't accept it, today is the reality is completely different. So I'm not going to accept it. The same thing, for example, frankly speaking, the mood in Baku is changing, and with what happened with the all information campaign around the Lachin Road, with the blockade in the taking place, the all the information campaign is created quite a big taste. And I would say that now, I would say that Baku is the mood is it's not announced publicly, it's not made, there is no statement over it, but the mood is that if Baku was offering Azerbaijani citizenship to Karabakh Armenians by default, that's not going to be the case anymore also. I believe that soon there will be other conditions. So if in the past, let's say that Baku was saying that anyone from Karabakh Armenians who is ready to accept Azerbaijan citizenship, we can grant it. Now it's not going to be the same case. So I believe that the rights over property, rights living in the territory, it's all going to be recognized, but you can live there as foreign citizens. So I believe that that's what the Baku's position is moving toward. But
That's
that
a very
those
important statement you're making. You are making very important statement.
yeah, no, but trying to explain the mood, saying that
Yeah, it's very
Baku,
important point.
the Baku, whatever Baku is going to offer today it's not good. So the mood, if you are asking me like one day Baku can say that, hey, any status to Karabakh Armenians. So in the mood in Baku is the opposite one. They're trying to limit, or they're trying to let's say, if there is a certain type of resistance, political resistance to the issue. So I believe that the Baku even can take a certain steps back, but not in the favor of Karabakh Armenians. So again, the information campaign about the blockade for the last couple of months, that created a significant frustration within Baku. Let's see how it will declare itself.
Okay, that's it. And did I ask all panelists? Did all of you manage to answer this question, or okay, we are running, we have 5 minutes left, and there was a question, interesting question. The panel is entitled Between West and Russia, and one question was a little bit different. It's asked, I wonder if you can answer it very, very quickly. There are other countries, other centers such as India, China. How important would be perspective of Armenian cooperation development, or Armenian Azerbaijan cooperation and development with these countries, not only with Russia and the West? Yulia, please. The countries that would not be seen as a threat by Russia, for example. This question to Yulia.
Well, generally speaking, Iran is not seen as a threat, as a regional actor. Turkey, well, with Turkey, that's more difficult because we know that Russian-Turkish relations are fluctuating from time to time, but I mean, if we compare Turkish influence in South Caucasus to, say, the EU or the US influence in South Caucasus, of course, Russia can accommodate Turkish influence better and simpler than the Western influence. China is an actor that we tend to forget about, and we know that the Belt and
We have just 3 minutes left. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So China, but then again, that's like with Turkey. I think that economically, if China is really interested in the region and would like to be an important actor, then it would be a concern for Russia as well.
Okay, thank you. Ahmad, you.
So I believe that if in the past Azerbaijan would be interested in as many platforms as possible, but today Azerbaijan is looking to the most effective platform that can deliver the peace deal as soon as possible. Azerbaijan is after that, and so that is why if China can put a pressure and achieve that, let it be. But I don't think that now Azerbaijan is looking for the new players, new income, like the countries to come and take place in the process. For Baku, it sounds like the giving opportunity for Yerevan to postpone it even more and more and more. So that's why, like, the Baku would love to limit it to the existing platforms and they use them more effectively. Again, President Erdogan and what he proposed is more acceptable right now.
Okay, thank you. And Alexander.
I think Armenia's mood is to try to have as many actors from outside here in the region and try to develop their relationships with countries like non-Western countries like India, like China, Iran, etc., and Western countries like European Union, United States, continuing relationships with Russia. But I would think that somebody thinks seriously that this is about Nagorno-Karabakh conflict or guarantees for Nagorno-Karabakh or such something like that. Here we understand very clear that Azerbaijanis don't need peace; they need Karabakh. Nobody is going to come and give us or give Karabakh to Karabakh Armenians. It's not serious. So to develop relationships with other countries, understanding that Karabakh problem is Karabakh problem, and it will be, unfortunately, it will continue to exist, and in Armenia would try to continue peace process around Karabakh problem, to fix some status for people living there as these people like to live in their homes.
Okay, thank you. And I guess we are already out of time. I want to say thank you to all participants. Thank you to those who attended this roundtable. Thank you to everyone, and I hope to see everyone soon, to see maybe in the virtual, virtually. Thank you, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.